Hello, today I'm going to be looking real quick at a modder's guide for using TTModManager. Hopefully this should be relatively straightforward. First, I'm just going to go over how to make a simple file-based mod, some of the things that you want to keep in mind when making a file-based mod for characters. And then we'll be looking at the Python scripting system built in. So yeah, let's get started. So TTMM works through a file-based system. So if you go over here, so this is a sample mod, you'll see this ttmoddef.json file. Open it up, and you will see the structure. So this file will, by the way, be on GitHub if you want to just take a look yourself. So here we have two mods, Fun Gizmos and Episode 5 Ice Rink. The mod ID has to be unique, ideally. The name does not. The folder we'll get into in a second. Author should be you. The description can be whatever you want. Version, whatever version. And dependencies. In here you want to put the dependency name of, or the mod ID of whatever mod your mod depends on. If your mod were to, for example, edit another mod. This can, by the way, be a mod ID to a reloaded to redirector mod, if you're so inclined. So for example, this will make Fun Gizmos depend on Ice Rink. So if Ice Rink is not loaded and Fun Gizmos is, it will complain. Importantly, it won't necessarily stop you from loading it. So if it will tell you you're missing dependencies. Would you like to continue? So that's just something to know on your side. Now, importantly, the folder here. Each mod should have a folder, of course. So here it tells you that Fun Gizmos can be found in sample mod 2. And this is the important part. This folder should be laid out in the same directory structure as the game. Now, what do I mean by that? For example, if we pop over to the game, you'll see that in our root directory, we have a levels file, or a levels directory, which then pops up all these, a characters directory, which then pops up all these, etc. Your root directory for your mod should look like that. So if we open up sample mod, this is a good one because it has levels in it, right? So this tells you, oh, when we go to copy it in, it's going to be copied into the levels directory, and then it has map, and then the patch files, which you can make from Brickbench. So this is the way you want to distribute it. You don't want to distribute it as just like, oh, I'm making an edit to like Lando. I'm going to put in lando.ghg, right? You don't want to do that. You want to put in characters, lando.ghg, because that way it'll get replaced correctly. You can see that almost like that. This one replaces just the giz file. One very important thing to note, which is one of the benefits of TTModManager, is that TTModManager supports merging different mods that use characters, which means that you don't have to worry about what character name IDs you give your mod. TTModManager will automatically go and merge them together in a way that doesn't conflict. The one thing to note with that is that because of store restrictions, because there's only a very limited amount of characters that can appear in the shop, TTModManager will automatically make it so that your characters are unlocked by default. That's just something to note, because if you unlock them in the shop and then you have two mods that have a lot of characters, there's a good chance that one mod's characters just will be unusable because it can't appear. So that's just one thing to know. It's not a bug. That's intentional. So yeah, if you currently have, by the way, a mod config mod, so that would be a reloaded 2 mod. It's pretty simple to change it. You just kind of take this file, port it to this format, and then rename the redirector format or the redirector directory to whatever you want. So you might call it, in this case, Sonic Dimensions. And by the way, thanks Cheats9000 for making this mod. Now let's look real quick at the scripting system for TTModManager. So TTModManager supports Python scripting. It's relatively simple right now, but it will be getting more advanced as it goes. So if, for example, let's take a simple one, which is going to be teleport. So first of all, of course, we have the JSON file, which tells you that the position save and load mod with an ID of save pods is in folder teleport. So we pop in here. you'll see a mod scripts file. Now this folder does not exist in the original game. This is used to hold the scripts that you might write. So in this one, teleport.py, if we open it up, Notepad, it's a very simple mod. This one just should be pretty straightforward to read. When you press a key, if the key is C, it then saves your position. So it saves the creature position of the first player, of player 1. And then when you press V, it sets the creature position to the safe position. One of the nice things is because, unlike, say, Reloaded 2, this is specific to LEGO Star Wars, we can start adding features on top that are specific to LEGO Star Wars, like getting creature positions, or finding the level name, or creature velocity. So that's just something to know, pretty useful in this case. The basic structure, which again, this is also going to be on the GitHub if you want to download it, is you want to import TTMM scripting library as TM. I mean, this can be whatever you want, but for consistency, TM. You have to make sure to define these two, init and update, because these are run by the injected Python runtime when you go and start the game. So init is run about halfway into the game initialization, and update is run every frame. These you don't have to define unless you're using them. Let's look at a more complicated example now. So this is going to be freefly.py. So this initializes the scripting library. These, by the way, are examples. I'll go over them in a second. But you can see this is a bit more complicated. It, whenever you're in freefly mode, it then lets you control your mouse, your player, with WASD, space and shift. And then it also has on-key released to make it go to 0. You can also have a tab here. By the way, all of these constants you can find by just opening up the documentation for the PYD file that's included, which is the Python library. One of the important things, by the way, with this system is that these, any function that isn't just a read or write, byte, string, int, float, byte array, etc., are safe. So for example, set creature position, it is safe in that if the player 1 pointer is null, so it's 0, whether that be because player 1 hasn't been initialized yet, or because you're in a menu or something like that, it's not going to crash. It's just going to either do nothing in this case, or give you 0 if it's returning something. That is, these, however, so read byte, write byte, string, etc., are not safe, because the whole point of them is you can do write to anywhere. So just make sure you're not writing to like null pointers. Make sure that if you're reading a pointer from the game and then writing to it, something that uses that pointer, that you check to make sure the pointer's not 0. With these pointers, you can write to executable memory. So if you want to replace, like, I don't know, some instruction somewhere, you can do that. The documentation for this is all on, again, on the PYD file, or if you want to just check out the source code, that's going to be on GitHub as well. The last thing with this is that there is logging. So if you want to, for example, log some value, you can just do tm.print, and then, you know, hi, I'm here, or whatever. And if you want to do logging that you want to ship with your mod, so for example, to tell the user whenever like some weird state happened, you want to do tm.log, and then what you want to do first is put in your mod name. So in this case, freefly, and then your thing. So this happened. That's just for courtesy, because if you're shipping your mod with print statements, it's nice for the user to be able to tell where they're coming from. And these, by the way, will appear on the console that runs whenever you start up the mod manager. So yeah, again, this will all be, all these examples will be on GitHub. The source code for the library will be on GitHub for the injector, and you can find documentation for this on the PYD file. So yeah, happy modding. If you have any issues with this, feel free to put it as an issue on the repository, and good luck.